Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video, we are going to be doing a little story time. But before we get started in the story time, I'm going to ask you guys to like my video and then subscribe as well because I do post very interesting content. I like to think it's interesting. So even though I pride myself on being the loner, I'm very proud of my loner status. Now, as a loner, I do get lonely and I do require human interaction. But believe it or not, I'm still human. I know it sounds crazy. I know. It even shocks me. And so one day, I was feeling lonely. I was feeling more lonely than I normally do, and I downloaded a certain app for the gays. If you're gay, you know what this app is. If you're not gay and you know what this app is, you might be gay, but that's not gonna be the point of this video. The point of this video is my experience with said app. So I downloaded this app. I was scrolling for what felt like an eternity. It felt like it wasn't ending, trying to figure out who I wanted to talk to. I'm not one to just talk to anyone because I get bored easily. So I have to find someone who's on my level of excitement, I guess. And if you aren't as entertaining as I am, we probably just won't talk. Now, I'm pretty boring, I know, but I'm also pretty entertaining. I don't know if that contradicts. So after scrolling for what felt like an eternity, I finally found my potential candidate. And so I clicked on his profile. Now, when I clicked on his profile seemed perfect. His description was cool. It was intriguing. It caught my eye, obviously. This piece of information is very important. His height said he was 6'2". Remember that? I'm not typically one to sit here and judge you based on your height. And his profile also stated that he wasn't looking for anything serious and I wasn't looking for anything serious. So after, spending 15, 20 minutes looking at his profile and debating on if I wanted to actually message this dude, I finally messaged him and we're talking, we're getting a feel for each other. He still seems pretty cool. We finally come up with a time to hang out. Now, I'm gonna say this one time. I stand by this now. Before, I never met someone at their house. I always thought that was weird. To meet someone the first time at their house is very sketchy. Now, the time comes to finally, go to his house, and I should have known something was weird when he told me that he lived in his parents' basement. Now, he didn't tell me that until the day of, and I thought that was very strange, but then again, I'm not gonna judge you based on your financial situation. Maybe you're living there for free. Maybe you lost your job. I don't know. That's not my business, nor my concern. We're just literally hanging out, and that's it. All right, so this is where things are gonna get very interesting very quickly. So I text him that I have arrived and he opens up his garage door and I kid you not, a cloud of smoke or fog or whatever it was rolls out the door and I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my gosh, his house is on fire. What do I do? Do I call the police? Do I call the fire department? What do I do? His house is literally on fire. And then he walks out. So I can barely see him, but I can see his shadow and it's a lot shorter than 6'2". So I'm parked far away from the garage door, so I can't really see and it's dark outside. Maybe it's just my eyes, because my eyes don't work that well, especially at night. So I think it's just, the distance. He starts walking towards me, and as he's getting closer, his height isn't changing. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, this is definitely not 6'2". This is not what I signed up for, but I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. I shouldn't be so lenient when it comes to stuff like that. And it happens to the best of us. I mean, I make mistakes. You make mistakes. We all make mistakes. That's just life. That is the joy of life. But when I tell you, he was literally 5'2". He was 5'2", not 6'2". And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, oh, maybe it was just a typo. Maybe it was just a mistake. And that really took me back a little bit because I'm like, okay, this is not what I was expecting. What is this? And then on top of that, all of his pictures on his profile showed that he had hair or at least a hat on. So I assumed he still had hair and he had hair under that hat. And when I showed up, homeboy had no hair. He was literally bald and 5'2". And I'm sitting there and I'm like, you lied. I got catfished. You catfished me. You can still be fun. You can still be interesting. We can still be friends. Trying to be nice, trying to give people the benefit of the doubt. And these types of situations, you probably shouldn't do that. As I'm walking towards the garage door, I still see the smoke or fog rolling out. And as I'm walking in, I see all these flashing lights. There's Halloween decorations up. Let me remind you that this was in August. So Halloween wasn't even close. And that was just strange to me. And that was red flag number 5. And I still went along with it because, live a little, do something risky. So I went along with it. And we finally get down to his portion of the house. I walk into his place and this man has literally 6 or 7 dogs and 20 birds. And that just throws me off a little bit because I wasn't expecting to see a whole zoo in someone's house. That just threw me off. And I love animals, don't get me wrong. I love dogs, I have a dog of my own. I love him, he's like my child. I don't really know how I feel about birds. Birds kind of scare me a little bit, and I don't like caged birds. I think that is very cruel, but that's just my personal opinion on that. So he has all these animals, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool, I guess. Like, whatever. He keeps getting closer and closer to me, and at this point, I'm very uncomfortable. Like, I don't know what to do, and I just want to leave. Like, I'm just very uncomfortable to the point where I just want to go. And so he keeps getting closer to me, so I keep finding reasons to, you know, put some distance between us. He finally, like, cornered me, and he tried to, like, touch me, and I'm like, okay, this is not what I signed up for. This is not what I was expecting. I thought we had an understanding here that we were just going to hang out. So I'm coming up with all of these like exit plans and all these strategies to like get out. And so I finally came to the conclusion that I was just gonna wait for him to like go to the bathroom or something, and then I'm just gonna leave. But he wasn't going to the bathroom. It felt like I was in his apartment for literally a lifetime. I felt like I was in there for years. It felt so long, and it was probably only like 20 to 30 minutes that I was actually in his apartment. And after like 20 or 30 minutes of him, you know, trying to like make a move, he corners me, he tries to make a move again, and I wasn't having it. He was like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and then we're gonna go to my room. And I'm like, no. In my head, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, no, we're not gonna do that. And he finally goes to the bathroom, and I'm like, perfect. This is a perfect time to just leave. So he closes the door, and I book it to the front door. Now, let me remind you, I still have my boots on, and you know, I gotta be fancy, and I had these like really nice boots on. They were clacking on his floor. I was making so much fucking noise, and I'm fumbling his like front door, and I can't unlock it. And so I finally get the door open. I whip it open. I close it because, you know, he has dogs, and I would hate for one of his dogs to get out. You know, and even in that situation, I still care about the animals. I'm running up his steps because I had to go down the steps, and they were very steep, so I trip a little bit. I might have fallen on my face, but that's okay. I got back up and I kept running. Now, we're in the portion of the garage where all the Halloween decorations are, so they're still there, obviously, and they're still on, and I'm running, and these spider webs and these spiders and all these Halloween decorations are smacking me in my face, and I get to the garage door, and I'm freaking out, and I'm like, how do I unlock the door? And I can't see at this point. Like, it's very, like, foggy in there, so I can't really see. And so I'm, like, fumbling the door, trying to find the handle, and I finally found it, and I unlock it, I whip it open, and I leave it open because, like, why would I close it? Freaking out at this point. So I whip it open, and I'm running to my car, and I'm fumbling my keys at this point. I'm like, oh my gosh, where are my keys? I think I left them downstairs. And so I finally get them out of my pocket. All I have to do is press a button to unlock my car. I don't know why I was freaking out. Well, I know why I was freaking out, but I don't know why I couldn't, like, just press the button. I finally unlock my car. I get in, and I put my car in reverse, and I sped out of there. And now when I tell you, I blocked this man on literally everything within like 20 seconds. That was the fastest. Like, if there was a world record for blocking people on all social media platforms, I would have that. Like, I would be right there. I block him on everything, and I'm sitting there and I'm freaking out. My heart is pounding out of my chest. I'm like, yo, did that really just happen? And for the longest time afterwards, I'm like, you are such an idiot. You are so stupid. But it was a learning experience because I don't really know what I learned, to be honest with you. I still do stupid things. I would never do something like that. I still do stupid things. So, like, did I really learn a lot from this? I want you guys to take away from this that you should not be going to people's houses, no matter how lonely you are. FaceTime someone. FaceTime is amazing. I could have avoided that whole situation if we just FaceTime. And I think he had Android. And to be honest with you, that was the red flag that would have, you know, solidified my decision to go into his house. People with Androids are sketchy. They scare me. Thank you for watching and listening to my little story time. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you click the like button, click that subscribe button, and then comment down below before you click off my page. It definitely helps me in the long run, and I'll see you guys in the next video.